Chrissy Lampkin didn't just lose it, she destroyed it, as well as the man responsible, Camron. One audio leak, one ominous message, and the very basis of her life fell apart in real time, with no cuts or edits, just unadulterated chaos. The leak wasn't just messy, it was agonizing, destroying everything Chrissy had worked so hard to build over the years. Jim Jones didn't hesitate to bury Camron, and after hearing it, he marched straight out of the house without hesitation or resistance. Things sink in. Jim Jones, the man who supported her during the TV drama, street fights, and infidelity accusations, is done, and sources say it's not just because of. The leak reveals a long-simmering issue and a betrayal that goes deeper than anyone could have predicted. This isn't only reality TV these days. This is a comprehensive breakdown of the most controversial hip-hop romance, complete with duplicity, treachery, and hidden clues. And you're going to hear You're telling me that after everything they've been through since the infidelity, they don't want the world to hear it, because once it's out, there's no going back. Chrissy Lampkin is crying over a leaked movie that features Camron Jen Jones after facing accusations, public breakdowns, reality TV therapy, and constant criticism on Instagram. Abruptly got up and left as if he had had enough of the whole Sava baby thing. What's happening behind closed doors? This isn't just messy. It's radioactive. Let's not act like this is simply another hip-hop and love meltdown. This is far more serious. We're discussing secrets of treachery that were never intended to be seen in public, and a triangle that might be both romantic and dangerous, according to sources familiar with the matter. Allegedly created years ago, just surfaced, showing Camron and Chrissy in what seems to be a very private setting with whispers lit by candlelight. Spoken, and there is no sign of Jim Jones anywhere. This leak comes at a terrible time because Jim was reportedly completing a commitment of some kind too. Depending on who you ask, Chrissy may have made another proposal or even eloped, but now he's stormed out at a private dinner and hasn't returned calls because friends are worried. According to a source, Chrissy is a complete mess and her team is working on damage control. She has been crying ever since the movie became viral on the internet and is adamant that it isn't what it is. But Jim saw it and said, "I can't do this." No more, and to be honest, who can blame him? The movie is grainy and wobbly, but the voices are clear, and Chrissy's chemistry is obvious. Expression is depressing, but it gets stranger because Camron hasn't denied anything. In fact, he posted a mysterious tweet hours. Something should have remained between us after the video went viral. The tweet alone has ignited a digital firestorm, and many people are already speculating as to whether this was a premeditated retaliation attempt or a desperate attempt to garner attention since, let's not forget, Camron and Jim haven't been friends for a long time. There is history. There are old scars. Some even believe that Chrissy was more involved in the Dipset breakup than either of them. Introduction: let's go back in time to the early 2000s and see if this video is the final piece of the puzzle or if it's just the beginning of a new conflict. Chrissy Lampkin, Camron Jim Jones, and Chrissy were all savoring the fast life, bling, stardom, and street clout of Harlem. Chrissy was constantly present and was initially known as the person who held Jim down when no one else would, was his woman, then his ride or die, yet there were rumors at the time that she wasn't. Jim is always alone himself, and even though nothing was ever confirmed, people noticed the tense side glances in dubious interviews and backstage footage. "Keep your lady near, or she could wind up with a ghost," Camron once said on a mixtape. People assumed it was simply bars. But now that hip-hop and love were involved, Chrissy was more than just a plus one. She was the main character, the spark plug, and the... When she proposed to Jim on national television, Many remember it as the emotional core of the whole thing. It wasn't just romantic, it was history. A woman standing up and defying stereotypes and demanding dedication, but there was a lot of grief behind that moment. Years of feeling abandoned and unsupported were pushed away. And now it's with one leak. All that strength and effort just blew up in her face. But this is where things become dangerous. According to a trustworthy source from a love and hip-hop production team, there were unreleased video clips where Christy seemed to allude to a more intimate relationship with Camron. Mentioned a few things that weren't seen. According to the source, she started crying and felt abandoned by everyone save one. We all understood who she meant, even if she never named him. But what if that loyalty went beyond limits? What if Camron was more than just a friend who had her back? Jim has been oddly quiet. No tweets, Instagram stories, or anything, which is unnerving for someone as vocal and sensitive as Jim. Allege he's imprisoned in Miami, while some believe he's being wiretapped. In any case, his silence is potent, and fans are watching every frame of the leaked film. The internet has turned into a massive crime lab, and they're slowing everything down and adding more audio that matches tattoos to old photos, like in the Zapruder movie. And Chrissy's ending doesn't appear promising thus far. It's not just the video, it's the timing. She was on a podcast last week talking about. She talked about her second chance's trust and how she was at last prepared to have a child. Jim and I are stronger than we've ever been. Who could imagine saying that and then realizing this? The betrayal isn't just private. It's public and people are talking about it on the streets. Hashtags are flying. Camron received receipts for free Jim Jones, who by the way is illogical, but is still popular, after Chrissy deceived him. But wait, there's another. What if I told you Jim's girl was mine? Was the question posed by a direct message that was allegedly sent months ago from Camron Berner's account to a well-known gossip page. Initially dismissed, laughed off, and erased, it is now being screenshotted, shared, and scrutinized as if it were the holy book and everyone's. You know Mama Scott Young is chuckling somewhere, asking the same question. Was this a slow-burning plan or a time bomb designed to go off when it would hurt the most? Arranging the reunion episode of a lifetime while sipping tea, the kind of drama you can't write. But perhaps someone did because there's one. There is a theory that this entire dispute was stage-managed to get hits contracts and influence. However, if that is the case, someone neglected to disclose. Since Chrissy's tears are genuine, her breakdown is real, and numerous witnesses attest to the fact that she suffered a panic attack while hyperventilating during a meeting, and trembling while screaming, "I didn't do this." If that's acting, award her an Oscar. Chrissy was enthralled, and she sat at the edge of the velvet couch in silence, her knees weakening, and every breath she took seemed to reverberate off the walls like deceit. Camron's film was not just filthy but also explosive, and she was gripping her phone as like it had just destroyed her dreams. It supposedly contained voicemail. Recordings from years before where Chrissy seemed to deny it ever being loyal to Jim in an angry voice. Worse, she alluded to a contingency plan that had been there the entire time, and fans were excited to analyze every word, even comparing the audio tone to Chrissy's earlier love and hip-hop videos on the internet. Detectives were occupied, but to make matters worse, Camron posted it with a remark that sent everyone into a panic. The comment, "Area exploded, Chrissy was planning," and Jim was committed to the wrong person the entire time. Meanwhile, reports indicated that Jim Jones had departed their house in a black SUV with tinted windows. His face was expressionless. He didn't text Christy or say anything since the video ended. And that silence was louder than any shout. Next, there was another startling discovery. A blog that was known for posting shady receipts posted a picture of what they said was. Chrissy allegedly remarked in a previous text message to Camron, "If anything goes wrong, I know." Camron answered with a cheeky emoji and stated, "They simply aren't aware that I got you like I always did." People started to worry right away if Chrissy and Camron engage in a covert relationship behind Jim's back. Was this a case of treachery or outright espionage at this point? Weren't merely reporting. They were flooding gossip channels with exclusive interviews with the pair's purported friends. One unnamed source, who claimed to be Chrissy's social group's hairstylist, spilled tea in a now famous TikTok. Chrissy used to laugh whenever Cameron's name was mentioned, as though she remained silent on social media, even if that man wasn't her boyfriend's op. Jim Jones, Mona Scott, executive producer of Love and Hip Hop, wrote a mysterious assertion with some details, and the industry started to react. She unfollowed Camron and Chrissy on Instagram at Unir, a 2007 picture of Chrissy, and with her face uncomfortably close to his ear and Cam's hand resting low on Chrissy's waist, Camron appeared to be in a private backstage situation. Previously ignored, the undeniable evidence shot was suddenly being used as the final piece of a puzzle, and even celebrities began offering. Karma always had the final word in Yan Dandy Smith's dodgy tweet. Don't look brand new when the receipt was always there. In the meantime, remind me of Mel. Comment below a blog post. Betrayal will cost you everything. The response wasn't only digital. It was also financial for a number of Chrissy's enterprises. Relationships began separating with a high-end wig company. She just archived all of her collaboration posts. One jewelry brand canceled her future campaign and released an ambiguous declaration about upholding values and trust, which caused her to lose business, according to those close to the rapper. He has been completely absent from Miami, having not participated in any public appearances or studio sessions. In fact, a fan posted a blurry picture of him at a South Beach hotel on day 4 of the controversy. Popular sentiments began to shift while Chrissy was previously observed, and his expression appeared drained, as if he were a man who was dishonest on all levels. Memes with titles like "Plot Twist Queen" and "The Real Reason Jim Never Married Her" began to appear as the ride-or-die supporters now labeled her a mastermind. As the drama was rushing into an uncharted territory, Camron alluded to releasing a second leak, including documents that would put a stop to the. Every minute Chrissy stayed silent, the internet added 10 more levels to the conspiracy, and she was still nowhere to be found. Even worse, a new report surfaced that Chrissy might have been the one who initially urged Jim to break off his relationship with Cam, creating suspicion years earlier in order to manage the story and protect her personal secrets. The question wasn't whether Chrissy was guilty, but rather how much of, by this point, Jim's life had been impacted by her lies. It was more than just a dispute. It was a tragic movie, and Chrissy's name was popular because Chrissy was. According to those close to the sources, Chrissy had isolated herself at a secluded Hamptons property, avoiding any media attention and even severing her relationship with her closest pals. One anonymous stylist told a gossip site that she is not responding to anyone, not even her mother. There's broken glass everywhere, makeup on her sheets, and she's crying all day. The place has a sinister vibe, but despite her, Camron understood exactly how to serve it up. And exactly 1 week after the original leak, the audience showed no mercy and were famished. He backed to Instagram with a second live video, this time showcasing a document folder called the Last Straw PDF. For the first 30 seconds, he just looked into the camera, nodded, and said, "Y'all wanted answers, say less, let me finish her," as hundreds of onlookers rushed the exchange. Describe how Jim lost faith in his own team, how Dipset fell apart, and why loyalty is a joke in this line of work. He also displayed 2 pictures on the screen. Blurry and old, but what they appear to show has sent social media into a complete meltdown. A picture of a Chrissy lounging next to an unidentified male in a dimly lit. 2 smiling photos of a hotel room door with a time-stamped security camera photograph at a well-lit lounge with his arms slung over her shoulder and Chrissy's eyes closed. Chrissy follows the mystery guy 5 minutes later. The man's identity was not mentioned on the cam, but Twitter did, and within an hour, the mystery guy chart was trending. There were theories circulating about who it was. Some said it was a well-known music industry executive, while others speculated it was a rival rapper who had disparaged Jim Jones in a 2015 song. And the most bizarre idea was that it was an A-list actress who had a private relationship with Chrissy throughout her career in music. And she seems to want a piece of his business music. Regardless of what was true, the story had already changed, and it got worse when a third unnamed. A source claiming to have been Mona Scott's former assistant posted a voicemail recording of a woman who sounds remarkably like Christy saying, "I urged him not to say anything because if he flips, I'm done and Jim would actually leave me this time." Camron knows too much. No one seemed to care that the voice wasn't verified. The video went viral, making headlines on blogs as Chrissy's last admission hit 3,000 Reddit threads. Plus comments in under 2 hours, and fans started assembling complete movies that revealed Chrissy's purportedly deceptive tactics all throughout the years later. Jim Jones appeared in New York by himself for a club show that had been planned months previously. But he didn't rap or perform. Instead, he just stood in the VIP area with their arms crossed while the DJ played classic Dipset songs. When We Fly High started playing, the crowd began yelling Christy of Christy and Jim. Jones remained silent and simply closed his eyes. Some people claim that he seemed to be praying, while others claim that he was slowly reciting each phrase. According to accounts, Chrissy was continuously followed back at her shelter. One anonymous nurse informed a newspaper that she nearly went to the emergency room due to a panic attack. She continued repeating, "He hates me. He'll never forgive me. It's over," as her pressure rose and she was unable to breathe. The fall was nearly unrecognizable to someone who had once ruled New York's most dangerous circles with unshakable assurance. And just when everyone thought it could get any more vile, a 4th person joined Jim's candid, unfiltered mother, who was known for speaking the truth. Went live on Facebook and took Chrissy by the throat both intellectually and emotionally. "I told you that she wasn't right, and you called me a hater. You think I didn't?" Look at the little sly glances and secret conversations to understand what I witnessed. Mama Jones was right all along in her comment, "Vicious." This woman wants to safeguard. It was the last coffin nail in Chrissy's public persona, the ride-or-die turned backstabber. And you all made fun of her baby. Don't miss it. It suddenly appeared that the reason she never got a ring was because she had been waiting 20 years for one. In a leaked email that is suspicious. According to media site Mona Scott, ready to revise and republish previous hip-hop and love movie with new background, and unnamed editor said she wishes to end a dispute cut. Everything they were unable to display at the time. Now that the game has begun, this wasn't simply about treachery, it was about history of rebranding, although brands weren't simply severing their connection with Chrissy. They were suing a fashion collaboration asked for their advance return alleging image for $60,000. Harm another collaboration was aimed at ending. Please refrain from preventing Chrissy from claiming to be their ambassador, and even while someone close to you is still missing, supposedly attempted to get in touch with her. Jim holding a handwritten letter, the note which spilled into the dimly lit chamber said, "I I want the truth. I don't want forgiveness. I wasn't weaponized in order to stop ideal, but I didn't want to let you down. Loved you despite losing myself, didn't I? Who knows if it's real or not? However, fans were split, and half felt awful for her. Disintegration, while the other half said. Jim was photographed, but it was too late. Days later, without his ring of engagement. The man who has supported her during difficult, and Thin was now alone out here. Concentrated, and whether the tales are true. Getting contacted by record-already businesses and streaming services to give his version of events in a Chrissy, a complete documentary series. Remains silent and concealed, and Camron. Trolling, he posted one last meme that included, I tried using the caption to alert him. Love doesn't listen. And precisely. Like that, the internet said Camron. June the victim, the king of minor crime. And Chrissy, the betrayal blueprint is not sorry. Closure is just a mess.